Live? Am I a live human being? Am I live? Am I a live human being? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, moms and dads, children of all persuasions. My name's Tony Vicich, and you're watching the Monday edition of Living on a Thin Line, your daily diversion from all the anger, weirdness, anxiety, and hoopla going on in the world today. We come to you every day at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time to talk to you about, sometimes we get a little serious and can't really run away from certain issues, but mainly try to keep it light. And people go, well, why would you do that? I go, well, because I'm such a heavy dude inside anyway, so serious inside. They go, why do you become a stand-up comic? Because you're so serious inside. So many comics I know are exactly the same way, deeply serious inside, and you're looking for that counterweight, you're looking for a counterbalance. So you go into a profession like stand-up comedy or basket weaving. So I do this as a counterpoint, something to give me a break as much as it gives you a break. Just let me say this at the outset. I want to say this at the outset. Maybe I should wait. No, I'm going to say it now at the outset. If you, and I'm just telling you this to be helpful. It's not a major thing. Just like, what? Okay, it's not a major thing. I'm just telling you this, that if you were not in attendance at Tony Vicich Presents Sunday Night's Funnier last night at 7 p.m. Live from in your living room through the miracle of Zoom, you missed a really good show. Hello, Tina Mike Lawson. Hello to you. Hello, Philip Ware. You missed a really great show. I mean, a funny show. Christopher Royer is someone who I've known since he first started doing stand-up comedy, I want to say 8-9 years ago. I watched him develop, and I've watched him avoid so many of the pitfalls, artistic pitfalls, personal pitfalls as well, as much as you can. But artistic pitfalls to become one of the most unique thinkers and one of the funniest people I have ever witnessed. And I just had a great time. We had a great time in the Zoom room with him last night on that show, along with making their kind of professional debuts, meaning we're going to pay him a couple of bucks, David John and John Ibrahim. So it was a nice night. It was a nice something to do on Sunday at 7, kind of like the Ed Sullivan Show when I was a kid. I've become the Ed Sullivan of Zoom. That's who the hell I am. We got a really big show for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We got Topo Gigio and Christopher Royer. So if you weren't there last night, and I get it if you weren't there, and you go, no, I don't know if it's worth it. I'm going to pay $10 and do what? You should attend one of these on Sunday nights. Tony Vicich Presents Sunday Night's Funnier. You'll have a good time. You'll enjoy it. And once again, it's a community of people coming together and just having some fun. This coming Sunday, I've got another longtime friend, stand-up comic, who is just silly. He's just silly. Okay, Paul Green. So if you're looking for something to do Sunday night, and also if you're looking to let's see, Chucky Lee says, Chucky, I don't know the first part of your question, or just broadcast in real time. So I don't know what your question is. Oh, is the show available online anywhere? This show, Chucky, or the Sunday night show? I don't know which one you're talking about. This show gets downloaded onto my Facebook page and on my YouTube page.
Live on Comedy Schools Radio Network.
And yeah, it's always housed on ComedySchoolsRadioNetwork.com. You can always pick it up there. This show. Our Sunday night shows you can only see live. Okay, Sunday nights at 7. So you want to check them out. When you pay the $10, if you're quarantined, the whole family can watch. You're not only being entertained, you're also helping out local food banks in our area, and portions of the money also goes to the comics. Sunday night, Chucky Lee, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can get tickets. It's real easy right now. Go to ComedySchools.com. Later on, it'll be up on ComedySchoolsRadioNetwork.com, ComedySchools.com. Chucky Lee says, is it on YouTube or just shown last night? Just shown last night. These shows are just, these shows we're kind of like setting apart from everything else. Okay, so Sunday night, $10, Paul Green, coming up every Sunday at 7. Okay, all right, and it was a great show last night, and we had so much fun. And if you tune in this Sunday, you'll have fun too. And damn it, I want you to have fun. Thank you, Chucky. Good to see you popping up here, my friend. Good to see my old buddy Kelly Wilson here, Charles Kaminsky. Are you guys popping up live? A lot of people apparently. I found out the other night I was in a a business meeting. I'm just going to call it a business meeting. And one of the people in the business meeting said, "Oh, by the way, I listen to you every day." And because sometimes you'll see like just a few people here, right here on Facebook Live. You think that's it, but that's enough. By the way, I heard a great thing today. The man who realizes that he has enough is the richest man in the world, and it's just enough. It's just enough. But then I get pleasantly surprised to find out that other people are accessing the show that I had no idea that they were. So fun show, good times. Did the commercial. Oh, one more thing. If you ever thought about doing stand-up comedy, and you should think about it. Think about taking all those dark thoughts and turning them light. Think about taking all those serious ideas and making them silly, so you and others around you can enjoy it. There's still time to join. There's still time to join our beginning workshop, comedyschools.com. This Thursday night will be class 2. If you join, I'll get you caught up on what you missed last week. And away we'll go. All right. Enough about that. Show is built around 3 things. If you've been watching on a regular basis, you know what those 3 things are. Okay, that's interaction with you, where you're putting up comments or questions right here on Facebook Live or on one of the other platforms. Some silly knickknack or trinket or memorabilia or autograph hunk of junk I got here in my home office. And I recommend 2 artists or 2 pieces of music based on my vast vinyl album collection. And what I'm hoping for you, what I think will be cool, you should try this. That once I recommend the artist or the music, that as soon as the show's over, and it's only a half-hour show, that you YouTube or Google the artist or the songs in question and see if I steered you in the right direction. Okay? I think that's been kind of left out of the equation. We need to come up with another 10 greatest list pretty soon. We just did the 10 coolest people ever. We're going to come up with one of those so we can have some fun with that. All right. First knickknack or trinket. I'm almost embarrassed. So what is it? It's a snow globe. So the issue is today, starting out, I was already on a bunch of calls all day. I've been pretty much sitting here doing calls all morning. And I went, oh, man, I need something for the that first part of the show. And this is a St. Louis snow globe. And inside it, of course, is the world-famous St. Louis Arch. And I'm going to tell you something. You might think that looks silly, but if you're sitting in Phoenix here where it was 111 the other day, that looks pretty damn inviting. Now, I don't know when I bought this snow globe. Oddly enough, it was made in China. It cost $10. And I have a feeling that I actually paid full price for this. This looks like a family outing purchase that you purchase for your kids or something. But there it is. Snow globes are kind of cool. You can fool around with them. Look at that. All right. And it's got all kinds of little art all the way around it here. St. Louis Courthouse, baseball stadium, the old courthouse, the whole skyline at the time. So you really can't make it out. Maybe you can. Look at that. Okay, that's kind of cool. Isn't it? That's kind of cool. They did it. It's cast iron. Huh?
You should hold it like that.
Shirley says I should hold it like this. But no, it's just a shot of my fingers. Finger shot. Hey, I just gave you a finger shot. I just fingered you. Not Freddie got fingered. Randy Alma got fingered. All right, what else we got going on here? So that's the trinket I have. And the thing is, of course, paid $10 for it on a family outing. I'm almost positive. And now it's been sitting behind some other stuff on the desk behind me for God who knows how long, just gathering dust. But at one time, it meant something. Oh, Tina Mike Lawson told us about the arch, by the way. For those of you that don't know, the perfection of the engineering of the world-famous St. Louis Arch. It is 630 feet tall. It is 630 feet wide. It is as wide as it is tall. You can go up in the arch. I don't imagine you can do it right now, but hopefully they'll get back to where when people go to St. Louis, they'll be able to go back up in it again. It's quite a ride. You go up in these pods. You're going, ching, 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 and then you get to the top, and there's these little slats, and you can look out on the St. Louis side and look out in the look out on the Illinois side and go, hey, it's pretty flat out here. Randy says, not recently fingered. Oh, well. All right. Well, you just got fingered here on on living on a thin line, Randy. That's what happened. That's what happened, Randy. Randy. I used to have a buddy of mine. God damn, I can't remember his name now. He's no longer with us. But he had a German girlfriend who just loved him, and her name was Petra. And whenever she saw him, she'd go, "Oh, Randy," like that. And it was kind of weird. Philip Waring said it's very claustrophobic. It is. If you're claustrophobic, that ride up can give you a lot of anxiety. My wife Shirley, when she and I were back in St. Louis at one point and went up there, it gave her a lot of anxiety. Tina Mike Lawson tells us that the St. Louis Arch sways about 22 inches. That's kind of wild. So almost a 2-foot sway while you're up there. A lot of people don't know that about very tall buildings and tall structures, that they build them so that they have a little give, because that way they don't crack and the foundations don't wear down. So they have just a little bit of sway in them to make it so they actually last longer. Although some things, I don't know how much sway the Leaning Tower of Pisa had, and that's never good. I mean, it started to fall all the way over, but or how much sway the Roman Colosseum had, or the Roman aqueducts. The Romans didn't sway, man. No sway. I think that's is an old Roman saying. Pax Romana, no sway. Okay. That is our little, unless people still want to talk about the arch. I watched them build the arch when I was a wee lad. I grew up in old North St. Louis at 2622 North 19th Street, Carter 19th and Montgomery. And one of those kind of desolate kind of streets in the inner city now. Our old house is gone. All the houses that were on that exact block are all gone. Occasional buildings standing here and there, leading down or going north up to St. Louis Avenue, when all these houses that were one time beautiful mansions, that even by the time I was a child were run down rooming houses. Roman, hey Roman, how are you? No sway. That's funny. I'm talking about the Romans had no sway, and my buddy Roman. It's just good to see you pop up here. Hope you're doing well, pal. Says no sway. Philip Waring says the Kingsland area. No, I grew up in old North St. Louis. I went to St. Laborious Catholic Church. I went to kindergarten. I want to say at Blair up by St. Louis Park. And I went to grade school, Catholic school at St. Laborious, and also went to church of St. Laborious. St. Laborious Church, which is one of those beautiful late 19th century churches built by German immigrants or Eastern European immigrants when they came to the United States and settled in that neighborhood. And a gorgeous church, fell on horrific times. Its steeple fell over. There was holes in the roof. It's now a skate park. Now, I'm not a man. I've lived my entire life being sacrilegious and poking fun at things and not believing that anything is sacred. But to know that your old church where you went to your first confession, your first communion, your confirmation has become a skate park inside, that seems weird. Years ago, I went to a club in New York City called the Limelighter with Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols, and it was in an old church. And even though it was a cool old club and stuff, it still struck me just a little odd. Tina and Mike Lawson, Mike says, I worked with and knew a lot of old timers that did during my career as a union iron worker. So you knew guys, Mike, who actually worked on the arch. That is so cool. But when I was a little boy, I watched him build it. I watched it slowly came together. That's the way it did, folks. You imagine if you were in St. Louis in 1965 and you watch a thing they've been talking about for years slowly get built, and they were bringing up both sides evenly. Quite an engineering feat until they both finally came together and created the arch, created the St. Louis Arch, the gateway to the West. A lot of people don't know that they had actually traded the logo. St. Louis wasn't going to use like some sort of acorn in the ground you could see coming up into a tree, and a bank had the arch, and they actually traded. And I forget the name of the bank. It was some community bank in St. Louis. They traded logos. And that's how St. Louis got the arch. Chucky D says, gives new meaning to skate or die. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Repent or die, skate or die. Time marches on. So right about the time that we moved out to House Springs, Missouri, which is where I know all my Lawson friends from, they completed, because we moved out there the night before Halloween, 1965. We moved from the inner city of North St. Louis to House Springs, Missouri. And and just around that time, the St. Louis Arch, embodied in this snow globe right here, was completed. And a little secret, I did not go up in the St. Louis Arch until it was completed when I was 10 years old. I didn't go up in it until I was in my 30s. Let's see, DJ Payne's watching. Bruce Hepler says, all right, Tony, I just tuned in. What's this episode about? Well, Bruce, it's about those thrilling days of yesteryear. We take you back now to a simpler time when the good guys wore white hats and the black guys and the bad guys wore black hats. And I had Freudian slips. Hooray! It's just about, we're just talking, Bruce. Bruce, today we're just shooting the breeze. It's Monday. I'm now going to get to the music. 2 pieces of music, 2 artists that I'm going to recommend to you. This first one, kind of, I don't want to say it's tragic, but it's just one of those things where, and here it is. All right. You may not recognize that at all. As a matter of fact, it would take me a minute to recognize it. So who is this? This is Emmett Rhodes. Emmett Rhodes. And if you see on the back here, he was a good-looking boy. Emmett Rhodes. Emmett Rhodes got a huge, let's see, DJ Payton says, I got to go fish a dead eel out of a rich guy's tank. This is more interesting than that. You know, it's good to know that I'm more interested in fishing dead eels out of a tank. I always kind of thought I was, but now it's been confirmed. Emmett Rhodes got a huge buildup. And he had a song that popped up on FM radio, and I want to say right around 1970, 71, called Fresh as a Daisy. And he had a voice that rivaled Paul McCartney's. It had that same sweetness. It had that same light. The song was huge. Everybody predicted massive things for Emmett Rhodes. Massive things. And it didn't happen. This album was lauded. It shipped gold. I don't know if it went platinum. We can say we're going to hear from Emmett Rhodes for years. Kind of like they did with Elton John. When Elton John played the Troubadour and came up with that first album, we'll be hearing from Elton John for years, and we did. The same was said about Emmett Rhodes, but such was not the case. I actually read an article about him a couple years back. He's still around, or he was then, and still making music in his house and just releasing it on his own. It just didn't happen. But if you get a chance to go on YouTube and put in Emmett Rhodes, Fresh as a Daisy, you'll see what I'm talking about when I say that he had a voice that rivaled Paul McCartney's. That it gave you the same good feeling that Paul McCartney's did, that had the same sweetness and light in it, the same tone. And Fresh as a Daisy is a pretty fun little piano-driven pop tune from the early days, from the early 70s. Emmett Rhodes, YouTube him. And you tell me, how come he didn't go any further? I don't know. Let's figure it out. This next piece, really, really cool. Really, really cool. Okay. This you're going to want to listen to. So what are we looking at here? One of the most important people in punk, although was not really introduced to the world as punk, introduced to the world as a poet. This is Patti Smith. The album is Horses. Horses is an incredible piece of work, like an incredible piece of music, poetry, mixing in with little pieces of previous released pop tunes that took the radio world and rock world by storm when it came out. And there wasn't much known about her except that she was an incredible poet, and that song Horses, I'm going to look here. They don't have the songs here on the oh, here they are. Her version of Gloria. Yeah. Gloria, Redondo Beach, Birdland, Free Money, Kimberly Clark, Break It Up, Land, and Elegy. I think it's her version of Gloria that I'm talking about. Let me make sure because it's a long song. G-L-O-R-I, Gloria. really can't tell. I think it'd be anyway. I think it'd be side two. Side two. You want to listen to the album "Horses" by Patti Smith, and you go, "Wow, the incredible possibilities." And it was produced by John Cale. She was part of the New York, that burgeoning punk movement in New York that gave us Blondie. People coming right out of CBGB's, that whole scene. She was an integral part of it. She also wrote poetry and wrote plays. She wrote a play with Sam Shepard when they were staying at the Chelsea, and they were both drunk and high the whole time. And Sam Shepard disappeared the night of the play. I think Sam was supposed to star in it. If you ever hear a play called Cowboy Mouth, Cowboy Mouth 1, Cowboy Mouth 2, these were plays that were written by Sam Shepard about his time drunk and high at the Chelsea with Patti Smith. And you talk about a window into a rock and roll tortured artist heart, okay? And at the same time, a relationship that you go, I wouldn't want to be in this relationship, but man, I can't turn away. Read Cowboy Mouth 1 and 2 by Sam Shepard, and you'll know a little bit about Patti Smith. Patti Smith later on, after this album, which was critically acclaimed, had a huge hit with the song Because the Night. Because the night belongs to lovers. Oddly enough, she did not write that, even though she was known as a writer. She didn't write it. Bruce Springsteen wrote it, and it became a massive hit for her. Springsteen wrote stuff for other people. Fire by the Pointer Sisters. When we kiss, fire. That's a Springsteen song. Springsteen wrote the anthems of the 70s. You know, Patti Smith did a great job with Because the Night. It is a great power song. But you really want to go back and listen to her album, Horses, to really see the true talent. And you'll also understand, if you listen to that album, why she did not become a huge pop star. It's just not in the cards for her, because she is a true artist. She is a true artist, and she could not bend away. She could really not bend away from her art. She could not, would not, should not, Sam, play the game. I'm not saying that's the best way to go. By the way, those kind of people are that way. That's the way they are. If you go, I'm not going to play the game, but you're not that way, it'll end up badly for you. All right, I'm going to kind of wrap up today. It's Monday. Kind of crazy stuff going on in the world. Okay. I will tell you this, that I was in some conversations with people today. You look at all different perspectives of things. I was talking with several people today who own businesses in Los Angeles. One guy that was, I heard him talking that he had worked himself up from being homeless to owning restaurants. And last night or the night before, one of those restaurants that a man who worked his way up from being homeless to owning restaurants was gutted and destroyed, and they're not going to be able to rebuild it, and all those people lost their jobs. I understand the pain. I understand the anger. Okay, but if you want to be a part of the economic opportunity that does exist, you might not want to burn down the economic opportunity. Okay, there's two sides to every story in these cases. Okay, here I'm going to leave you with a really bad joke. Okay, it's the kind of joke that gets me in trouble. Okay, here in the greater Phoenix area, in Scottsdale, which is one of the wealthier areas in the United States, there is the world famous Scottsdale Fashion Square Mall, where I've spent many hours at its restaurants, many hours when I was with the company, and we had a concern going there. I've gone to movies there, lunches, dinners, hangout, bought Christmas gifts at Scottsdale Fashion Square. I know it well. It's a touchstone area for me. I had an office right across the street from Scottsdale Fashion Square where I used to do these types of shows for years. Was looted and burnt last night or over the weekend. And I was talking to someone. It's terrible what happened to Scottsdale Fashion Square. Just dozens of people running through it. And they said, yeah, but knowing the way malls are right now, that was the most foot traffic that place had in the last 2 years. So put them back on the map. Come see us. We rebuilt from the curfew, from quarantine to curfew, ladies and gentlemen, to whatever's coming next. I'm going to be with you every day at 2 p.m. right here on Facebook Live, the YouTube Comedy Schools channel. and on ComedySchoolsRadioNetwork.com. Okay, where I'm going to share as much fun with you as possible. Check out our stand-up comedy workshops. Go to ComedySchools.com. And this Sunday night, join us for Tony Vicich Presents with headliner Paul Green. Tickets are available at ComedySchools.com. You will love it. Be a part of our working towards happiness community. Thanks a lot. I'll see y'all soon. Bye-bye. I can still write them, can I?